Welcome to the Coach's Edge podcast. On this episode, we're breaking down shot selection. Good shot, bad shot. What are the conversations we need to have with our players? How can we do a better job of being clear, being consistent, being concise when it comes to teaching shot selection to our team, to our players? So when it comes to this, and when coaches bring me in to run shooting camps, which happens a lot, if you've seen me shoot, you won't be surprised. If you've seen some of our shooting clinics, you probably wouldn't be surprised either, right? Just because of one, you never met a great shooter who didn't have confidence. I got confidence, right? If I'm in the gym, I'm letting that thing go. Okay. And then two, we're really detailed with how we break down shooting, things that have worked with the players that we've trained individually, teams that we've worked with, and shooting has never been more valuable, in my opinion, than it is in today's game right now. So we just get on that subject a lot. But the two things that I like to look at before we dig into the tips and how we can really break down shooting the basketball at a high level from a fundamental standpoint, and then how do we practice continuing to become better shooters? What does that practice start to look like? It's these two things. One, what's the team's ability to handle pressure? I'll talk with coaches who say, man, we really shot a poor percentage this year. We could really use some help with that. And then I do my job, which is starting to ask some questions. Watch a little game film. And what I'll see isn't necessarily a team that I would consider a bad shooting team. I'll see a team that can't handle pressure. They can't create good looks, open shots. Talk about being rhythm, range, and room, our 3 R's. You're not getting a lot of those. Okay. They're forced, which means it's not necessarily a shot that teammates expect. It's not necessarily a shot that is able to recover from a defensive standpoint, which we'll talk about some of those tips. Because they're being pressured so much, they're just trying to get the shot up when they can. And so that's something that we look at first. And sometimes we actually change the camp and the clinic because of what I've seen on film, conversations that we have with the coach. Say, hey, we're going to work on shooting, but if you can improve how you handle the ball against pressure and then how you break down the defense, you're going to automatically get better shots. So that's one thing that I look at. And then the second one is that something we talk about at length is our Coach's Edge Coach membership, and that's shot selection, which we'll dig into some of those tips in this episode. I think we have 3 shot selection presentations inside the Coach's Edge. The reason I think it's so beneficial is if there was a simple way for me to work with you, for you as a coach, to automatically improve your team shooting percentage. Like if you had the exact same team from one year to the next, and you simply improved their shot selection, and what I just mentioned was their ability to break down the defense and handle pressure, just those 2 things, they're going to shoot a higher percentage. They're going to shoot a higher percentage. And we haven't even talked about shooting. We haven't talked about form. We haven't talked about the practice. We haven't talked about the shooting drills, the reps. We haven't talked about block and variable and random and game situation drills and points of emphasis. We haven't talked about any of those things. If we just looked at how we're able to handle pressure and break down the defense and shot selection, we can automatically start to shoot a higher percentage from the field, which every team wants. Then we dig into some of those other areas that are really fun for me as a shooting coach, as far as being able to improve player shots from more of a technical standpoint, and some things that they can try to do in the game. So if we're breaking down shot selection at this point in the year, we want to refine some things with our team, with our players. This point in the year, very rarely are we trying to add. A lot of times at this point in the year, we're trying to subtract because we're in tournament time and we're getting close to tournament time. So you get close to tournament time, you start to peel back, you start to refine some things. We can do that with our shot selection. So number 1, run it through 1 through 7. Is it shot at a high percentage during your practice and during your drills? For each player individually, is it shot at a high percentage during practice and drills? If the answer is yes, okay, that's one of the things that we look for compared to a good shot or a bad shot. Number 2, the 3 R's: rhythm, range, and room. That's like a triple bonus tip because that's really 3 in 1. But if you remember coachsedge.coach, I mean, there's a full presentation on rhythm, range, and room, what that looks like. We show some game film, break it down, all those different things. So I'm not going to bore you with that one if you're one of our Coach's Edge members. But it needs to be in rhythm, in range, and you have room. Number 3, is it appropriate given the situation? That's time and score. Is the shot that you take appropriate given situation, time, and score? That's a big one. Number 4, can we recover defensively? If you take that shot, and if it happens to be a certain type of rebound based on the numbers, how your team's moving down the floor, you miss that shot, are you giving up an automatic layup on the other end? Okay, so can we recover defensively? Number 5, do your teammates expect you to shoot it? This is kind of a combination of some of the things that we've already talked about in our previous tips, as well as how you're running your offense, the personnel. Is it an inside out? Like we have a couple different coaches that have said when they're struggling, we're just going to look for the inside out 3. And if it's a rotational 3, or along the perimeter, we're going to keep working to try to get a better shot. But if it's an inside out 3, that's post touch, kick, drive, kick, basket cut, kick, offensive rebound, kick. We're going to pull those ones. All right. Your teammates now expect you to shoot that shot. They're prepared. That's a sign of a good shot compared to a bad shot. This ties into our 6th tip, which is, can it be offensive rebound? Can it be offensive rebound? Simple question, right? Now, this may be specific per team. You're running 5 out, obviously a little bit harder to offensive rebound out of that. If you run 4 out, 1 in, well, there's their 1 in there. Are you sending a certain amount of players to the glass on a consistent basis? Is it easy for those players to be able to do that because of the shot that you've taken? Something that we want to think about as well. And then our 7th tip is, as a coach, we have to leave room for our best players and our best shooters to do what they're best at. And so we always give the benefit of the doubt to our best scorer and our best shooter. Those are not necessarily the same person. Those could be the same person. It could be 2 different people. We want to give the benefit of the doubt to our best shooter and our best scorer. If they're not shooting confidently, we're in trouble. All right, I put a tweet up on Twitter and I asked, what do you do if a high-level shooter is struggling? And some coaches wrote back and they said, put him on the bench. Well, that's not solving your shooting problems, right? Because you're going to lose if that player's not shooting and making. They need to be making, all right? And the player that you're putting in for your shooter, there's a reason you're putting them in and they're not already in the game. They're not a shooter, okay? Oh, my goodness. So if you have a player who needs to be taking shots, even if they're not necessarily hitting them at the given moment, as a coach, I have to give you the benefit of the doubt. If you're our best scorer, you have a knack for scoring and knocking down shots, I have to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you're struggling for 3 quarters, but because I continue to give you the benefit of the doubt, you knock down 2 threes in the 4th quarter, we end up winning the game. Why? Because I gave you the benefit of the doubt. In fact, I'm trying to encourage you because you've earned it with your time, your practice. There's proof in the pudding, okay? Because the way that you've been able to shoot in the past, that's what's from a team and a coaching standpoint. We're like, yeah, this player is our best shooter. This player is our best scorer. You've earned that recognition. So when it gets to the most important games of the season, towards the end of the year, I'm always going to give our better players the benefit of the doubt. I could go on and on with that one. I just think that at this point in the year, especially if your best players aren't being successful, you're not going to make a tournament run. I mean, you might win a game here and there, but you're not going to make a deep run if your best players aren't your best players. It's got to happen And it only is going to happen if we're encouraging those players. So give them confidence. Don't take it away, while making sure they, as well as the rest of your team, understand good shots compared to bad shots. All right, let's run through these real quick. Shot at a high percentage during practice and drills. Rhythm, range, and room. It's appropriate given time, score, situation. We can recover defensively. Your teammates expect it. It can be offensive rebounded, and our best scorer and our best shooter getting the benefit of the doubt. We got some awesome stuff lined up with Coach's Edge, with coachesedge.coach. For the off season, I'm working on a 10 video series for stationary ball handling. This could be the beginning of a workout. This could also be stuff that you would send these videos to your players and they would be able to do it at home, garage, basement, whatever that might look like. We're taking all of our stationary ball handling drills out of coachesedge.coach, and we're putting these 10 videos, which are about 10 minutes long each, and we're putting them in. I demonstrate everything. I think that it's really important for us as coaches to try to be able to put our kids in front of somebody, even if it's on video, that can really demonstrate something at a high level, which I take a lot of pride in. So it's demonstrated at a high level. The drills work. What I mean by that is, if you put in something that is, it's a plan, right? It's not just, hey, do this drill, do this drill. There's progressions, there's layers, there's build-ups, there's a why involved to each workout that we do. You will get better, right? You got a plan, you got consistently, and you're getting after it. There's no choice for you to get better. And it should also save you a lot of time, because I'm making all these videos for you, so you don't have to do the work, right? You don't have to go on YouTube. You don't have to go on Instagram. You don't have to go on Twitter. I got the videos. Boom. There you go. Your kids are going to get better. So the way that we're breaking it down with the app is it's a 4-week, 5 workout a week program. And so we'll build that into the app. You can go through, like, hit Monday, here's the workout that'll pop up, and I walk you through the whole thing. Tuesday, so on through Friday. I'll talk a little bit about, if you want to do it every single day, how those 5 workouts would progress, and you could do them over 7. And then from the coaching standpoint, we just want you to have access to it. So even if you wanted to pick out one of those workouts, we'll upload it into the coachesedge.coach, and then you can say, hey, I wanted to do the daily dozen. Okay, click the daily dozen video. I'm breaking down the dozen dribbles that I highly recommend for players to use. We show that. You want to do the weekend ball handling workout, we got 3 of those. You want to do one of our pound V series drills, got that. So there's a bunch of different things we'll break down inside the membership that'll be uploaded within the next couple of weeks. That's one of our bigger projects that we'll have finished up over the course of the winter. And there's some pretty other cool video uploads that we have from more of a coaching team standpoint. We always try to get you on both sides of it, right? We try to give you the individual skill development aspect of building with your program, and then we try to help you from the standpoint of structure, concepts, X's and O's, game reads, decision making, areas like that you're going to work on, not just in the off season, but even more so during the course of the season. Got to get it from both sides. We're developing great players in our great program. Thank you for listening to the Coach's Edge podcast. If you liked it, positive rating, review goes a really long way. If you're curious about coachesedge.coach, let me know. Our summer camp schedule is nearly booked. I think we have limited amount of days in June, July, beginning of August scheduled, but we do have some spring dates. So it's kind of funny how that works. When you get to this point in the year, every coach wants camp dates, so they're hitting me up. But sometimes what works best is like, hey, I can come this one random Saturday in the month of April. Can we make that happen? So we have some of those dates available as well. So hit me up, contact@currentbasketball.com. See how we can help you improve you, your team, your program. Get after it today.